Hi everyone. In this pecha-kucha, I will compare the literary work The Earth on Turtle's Back by some Asian Native American writers and My Beijing by a modern writer. The two essays have a great difference in time, but the literary devices used in both essays were similar to each other. First, both essays show the writers have an extensive understanding of imagery. The writers were able to organize their thoughts completely and perform a view to readers by their own words, no matter the images they want to show are real or only made up ones to make the whole essay better. In the essay, The Earth on Turtle's Back, the writer used imagery mainly to support his main idea. For example, in order to make the myth persuasive to all the people, he described the environment before the Earth existed and how the turtle supported the Earth. In the essay, it says, before this Earth existed, there was only water. It stretched as far as one could see, and in that water there were birds and animals swimming around. Far above, in the clouds, there was a skyline. In that skyline, there was a great and beautiful tree. Native Americans extremely respected turtles. In the essay, not only the turtle supported the whole Earth, the essay also described how the turtle was able to get Earth with very hard difficulty, with all the other animals failed to get Earth because they were not diligent enough when they were trying. She went so deep that it was all dark, and still she swam deeper. She swam so deep that her lungs felt ready to burst, but she still swam deeper. At last, just as she becoming unconscious, she reached out one small paw and grasped at the bottom, barely touching it before she floated up, almost dead. Well, The Earth on Turtle's Back uses imagery to support the central idea. My Beijing does kind of the same thing. In My Beijing, the essay describes how terrible Beijing is, both by environment and people. In the writer's opinion, everywhere in Beijing is very dirty compared to California, the place he lived before. My Beijing flaunts a fleet of luxury cars, honking and speeding, weaving from life lane to right to left again, and the cab driver who took me from the airport to Grandpa's front doorstep, a jittering, execrable man, demanded to know why I could not speak Chinese if I looked Chinese. On the other hand, he knows his misunderstanding of Beijing by imagery. As a nation's capital, Beijing is just like a primitive village with non-organized people living in it. He felt so embarrassed for this famous city, and in his view, it is too different from what he thought about Beijing. Here is a short passage from the essay describing what the writer saw and heard. The neighbors next door argue. I hear them near the walls. Traffic sounds in the distance. A neo-atonal progression of chords and some polkative rhythms call to mind Stravinsky. All the literary devices used in the essays were to make the essays more interesting or appealing. For these two essays, irony was used together with imagery. However, they were used with different reasons. Irony in both essays was not supporting the main idea like imagery does. Rather than all kinds of irony, the two essays use more verbal irony more than other kinds of irony. Writers use words directly to express their thinking, and explain why the ideas shown were ironic. Irony in the essays was showing the central point, rather than giving detailed supports. In the essay, The Earth on Turtle's Back, the irony was neither very hard to understand, nor takes the whole essay to understand. The irony was mentioned clearly within one single paragraph. Just because of one dream, the character tried so hard to accomplish without any other reasons. Just like what is said in the story, he nodded as she finished telling her dream, my wife. He sighed, and said that he had this dream. It is clearly a dream of great power, and, as is our way, when one has such a powerful dream, we must do all we can to make it true. The great tree must be uprooted. Also, all the actions the characters did seemed ironic to people, such as at last the Asian chief himself came to the tree. He wrapped his arms around it, then he sneezed and strained. With his passage, it shows that the characters were very rigid, but they still thought the things they did were very important. While in My Beijing, the main point was the huge difference of Beijing from what the writer thought and what he actually saw. All of these factual details were expressed by irony, showing the writer's ignorance. In Beijing, day does not seem bright and blue, and night does not seem dark and quiet. The writer said that day here is gray from the smog stretched over the city, thick and foaming like the fats Mom ladles off her meat stools. Only no one skims the smog for Beijing. Night, then, is darker, greater than day. Never black and never midnight blue. Similar to the earth on Turtle's back, irony was expressed shortly within paragraph. It is surely very ironic if one person says one thing and does another. The taxi driver remained the narrator so carefully about not doing one thing, while he is doing it all the time. It says we talk about politics, and he had more opinions and criticisms about China than my mother had about me. Then in the other paragraph, it says, he turned to face me and said without a trace of humor, you might not want to talk too openly about Taiwan independence while you are here. Both essays were successful in usage of rhetorical devices. If the two essays were written without imagery and irony, they will be far less entertaining and persuasive. The two essays might be more than 1,000 years apart, but using rhetorical devices are the same for both. Time difference can only eliminate the effectiveness of their devices.